As a man on a mission in this world, I know it's easy to get overwhelmed. So many of us walk around in the world with a full plate that's just barely hanging on, juggling so many balls in our life that we just sometimes don't know how we're going to keep it all together. Does this sound like you? Because I know that this is my experience. The thing is that doesn't change over the course of our lives. Whether you're trying to balance a college class schedule or you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay your bills and take care of your kids and start up your business on the side, whatever it is, overwhelm is something that we're always going to be prone and susceptible to. The good news is that the resolution for overwhelm is always the same. You see, I remember when I was 25 years old and I first moved to California. I was in the very early stages of figuring out who I was and what I wanted to do in this world. And being out here in California without a job, without many responsibilities or commitments, I fell into this state of overwhelm, even though I didn't have a lot going on. The ironic thing is that I had all of this time, but I was stressed out by not knowing what to do with it, not knowing how to create consistency and balance in my life. So it left me stressed out. I would feel anxious. I would wake up in the middle of the night with my mind racing, trying to figure out something that I should do, the next thing I had to get to. And so what I started to do was I committed to the simple things, 3 simple things every day that I would do. I would wake up and make my bed. I would meditate for 30 minutes, and then I would exercise for 45. Before I did anything else in my day, as soon as the sun woke me up, I'd wake up, make my bed, meditate for 30, exercise for 45, and then have some breakfast and start my day. And now it sounds simple and it sounds very luxurious to just be able to wake up and have a morning routine. But the key within that was that I was committed to doing the simple things for myself. I was committed to keeping a clean and tidy environment where I slept. I was committed to quieting my mind and entering my day peacefully instead of in a hurry. And then I was committed to taking care of my body, moving my body and generating some blood pumping through my veins and getting me woken up in a really balanced and natural way. And by 9 o'clock every morning, I had already won. I'd already won the day because I did the 3 things I said I was committed to. And I get it. At this stage in my life, this was a lot for me. It was a lot for me to just do those things consistently, but I did that every day for 2 months. I woke up, made my bed, meditated, and exercised. And every single day that I did that, I got a little bit of a boost. I started to feel better about myself because as men, a lot of times the overwhelm is just our inability to use our singular focus and channel it in the direction that's most important. There's so many targets to aim at that we don't even know which one to shoot at. So we freeze, so we hesitate and we pause and we get thrown off. And the requests for our attention and our energy start to pile in and pile up. And before I know it, I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. I'm reaching for a drink. I'm reaching for a smoke. I'm looking at porn. I'm going out on my Tinder app. Whatever escape pattern we have, that's where my mind tries to go when I don't know how to deal with overwhelm. And like I said before, it doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. You could be in your early 20s and still in college, trying to figure out college life. That's stressful. That's anxiety producing. Or you could be in a new partnership, trying to show up powerfully for the first time and still maintaining your job and your business and your social relationships on the side. Or maybe you're in your 30s, you already have 2 kids and a wife and a mortgage, and you're trying to figure out how to do all that and balance it. The magnitude of the circumstances is not what's relevant. What matters is the feeling that's produced, because the guy in his 30s with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a family versus the college student with a full class schedule for the term, for the semester, the feeling of overwhelm, the experience of overwhelm is exactly the same. It's just that the stakes are different. So like I said in the beginning, the good news is that the solution is always the same. Getting back to the basics. Figuring out a way to clear a little bit of room on your plate so you can squeeze more on, so that everything feels a little more secure and under control. Now, what I do is when I start entering these stages of overwhelm, the first thing I have to do is I've got to catch myself. I've got to notice that overwhelm is happening. This is where you have to start tracking your behaviors over time. It starts as an adolescent, as a young man. You can start to see, well, when I get overwhelmed, I usually do this. When I get stressed out and anxious, I usually go and have a drink. Or when I get stressed out and anxious, I play video games or cruise on social media, fill in the blank. Know what your tell is. In poker, they say that if you don't have a good poker face, then you're telling your hand by your facial expression. So what is your tell? What is your indication for overwhelm, anxiety, stressed out, depression? All of those feelings that enter in when we don't know what to do with ourselves. So that's number one. Know your tell, know your sign. For me, it's usually stressing out and numbing myself. I'll all of a sudden I'll be on Netflix, or I'll be on YouTube and catch myself having watched 5, 6, 7 videos in a row, or cruising social media because I just haven't figured out what the next step is. So number one is the catch. Number two is the pivot. This is where I look at myself and say, oh, this is happening again. I'm in overwhelm. I'm stressed out. I'm anxious. This has happened before. Got it. Caught it. Now I get to pivot. What do I want to do with this overwhelm? How can I turn this anxious energy that's building up in my body and direct it towards resolution? Catch it, pivot, take action. Step 3, take action. You're never going to clear a full plate in one day. You're never going to check off all the boxes, especially as time goes on and you have greater and greater responsibilities. You realize that there's no end to the to-do list. So what are the top 3 things that you need to do to clear a little space in your life? What is, number one, the most critical thing that will clear the most space, reduce the most stress, the most anxiety and overwhelm in your life right now? Go ahead, type it in the comments. Tell me what it is. What is that one thing that if by accomplishing and achieving that one thing today, suddenly you'll feel a little bit of the pressure, a little bit of the heat is off of you, and do that thing right away. I don't care what it is. Prioritize that thing, put everything else to the side, and make that one thing happen. Because as soon as you do, as soon as you take action in a direction that starts to clear and free up some space for you, energetically, physically, emotionally, everything seems a little bit lighter. Clear the load a little bit. Discharge some of the jettison that you don't need right now and get rid of it so you can handle more. Because the reality is, beneath all that overwhelm, stress, and anxiety is the same man who a month or 2 or 3 or 6 before was handling it just fine. You're capable of it. You may be stressed out and in overwhelm right now, but nothing changed other than an increase in volume in the workload. So clear out the biggest thing. Clear out the next 2 things today. 1, 2, 3. Got to catch it. Got to see yourself in overwhelm first. Then you have to pivot. And then you got to take action on the top 3 things that are stressing you out and producing the most anxiety. And then before you know it, you start to build some momentum. Now that you got the 3 biggest things off your plate, look what I could do now. What's the next thing? And you start to stack wins, stacking W's, as I like to say, because checking things off feels good. It gives us a boost, a dopamine hit in our masculine center of our brain that's like, yeah, it's production time. Let's get this done. So you start to feel better and better and better about yourself because you're winning now. The problem with overwhelm is it feels like a loss. And when we feel like we're losing we want to just do something that feels good. Drink, smoke, watch TV, fill in the blank. So you got to make that pivot, take action, and start implementing those things that are going to make the biggest difference first. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're back on the ball. So do that today. Catch yourself if you're in overwhelm, anxiety, depression, stressed out. I don't care how long it's been. It could have been years, but notice and admit, I am feeling this way. Say it out loud in a mirror. I am stressed. I am anxious. I'm overwhelmed, etc. And then be with that for a second. Couple deep breaths. It's okay to be overwhelmed. But then number 2, pivot. I caught it. Yeah, good news. I caught the intruder before it got too late. So what? I'm stressed out. I'm anxious. I'm overwhelmed. I watched that video with Jeddy today and he told me what I need to do next. Awesome. Now you're starting to turn in the other direction. Take action. All right, what's the biggest thing right now? What is the 1, 2, 3 things I need to do today that's going to make me feel less stressed? And do those things. Execute them right away. And after you're done, come back to this video and tell me in the comments section how you feel. Because I guarantee you're going to feel like you're winning again. I don't care how long it's been. You're going to feel a little bit better or a lot a bit better than you did before. Because your plate is clear. You got rid of some of the junk you were carrying on your back, and now you can think, you can breathe, you can feel again. So do this today. If you're feeling stressed out, overwhelmed, if you're not, if you're flying high, then tuck it in your back pocket for a rainy day. Because like I said, overwhelm, stress, and anxiety never go away. They just change as life goes on. They evolve and the stakes grow and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you're in it, execute. If you're not, tuck this one away and save it for a rainy day because I guarantee you're going to need it. All right, y'all. If you're feeling what we're laying down, hit that subscribe and like button, drop some messages in the comment section, and go visit us at risingman.org for all our events and opportunities coming up. Peace.